Stadium.
And the British Virgin Islands have now entered the arena.
This is the first time that this country's been represented at the Commonwealth Games. Just one sole representative in the form of Lyndall Hodge, a 30-year-old sales manager from Pasadena, lives in California, the British Virgin Islands, 60 kilometres east of Puerto Rico. It must be one of the most tranquil spots left on the globe. A team of 20 representing the rich land of Brunei Darussalam. And I guess it will come as no surprise to find that this team has forsaken the cramped comfort of the village for the opulence of one of New Zealand's leading hotels, the Regent. But I guess when your ruler is said to be the world's richest man, there's got to be a few material comforts even when you come to the games. In fact, marching with the team is the Sultan's brother, Prince Haji Sufra Balkahi. And there he is in the first row of this 20-strong team. And carrying their flag was Nur Shah Abdullah, one of the boxers in the Brunei team. Crowd of 35,000 enjoying this magnificent spectacle. Now here's the huge Canadian contingent. Hey, aren't they looking smart? Yes, look at this uniform in their red, white and blue baseball jackets, can you believe?
Well, yes, the team has opted for a more casual look for the opening ceremony this time, with all the members in polo shirts and the women in blue culottes.
And carrying their flag, one of Tom Ponting, who will be one of Anthony Moss's strongest rivals for the gold medal in the 100 and the 200-metre butterfly. And this huge team of 252, but it's had its share of turmoil since it arrived in New Zealand. Our expulsion of Gillian Richardson, their sprinter, and of course the weightlifting fiasco, which selected lifter arrived here in Auckland with a court order requiring the Canadian selectors to reconsider, but they did, but all to no avail. But nonetheless, the Canadians are expected to reap a harvest of medals, particularly so in swimming, where I guess, Keith, they'll win at least half a dozen.
Yes, indeed, and maybe more. They're very strong there. The old Maple Leaf is flying high here in Auckland tonight.
And they're marching to the music of Alouetta and to Rosemary from the Desert Song, in keeping with Canada's biculturalism.
The Canadians can expect to win a few medals here on the track too. In fact, Mike Smith, the Commonwealth's leading decathlete, will be a major rival for Simon Pullman in the gold medal in the decathlon.
Up and take Prince Edward.
And I bet this opening ceremony is being watched very closely by some 1994 organisers back in Canada at the moment. Of course, it's Victoria on Vancouver Island, which will host the next games in 4 years' time.
This is the biggest team at the games, and my word, look how they're spread out. Not exactly marching like they used to in the good old days.
Canadians also believe they will win a lot of medals in gymnastics.
They seem to be enjoying the sight of us as much as we're enjoying the sight of them.
"55 countries will come in.
Cayman Islands.
Flag bearer for the Cayman Islands is Kareem Street Thompson. Now this young man, just 16 years of age, and the Cayman Islands Sportsman of the Year. He's a sprinter. He's considered a great prospect for the future. And he's the fellow, of course, like all these other athletes, if they want to be in the track and field events, people like Kareem here have to train on the beach because there are no athletic tracks at all on the Cayman Islands. It's a group of islands 300 kilometres north of Jamaica.
Oh, a very popular team in New Zealand, the Cook Islands. A big cheer from the audience.
I think we've got more Cook Islanders here, Angela, than there are back home, haven't we?
We certainly have.
Flag bearer
and back home they're watching television too, live for the first time.
Yes, and we have especially live television viewers from the Cook Islands. The flag bearer, Mike Terarui, he also carried the flag in Edinburgh. Don't they look great? They're competing here in 4 sports.
The team's uniform is made of a green and white floral fabric, green and white being the Cook Islands' national colours. Now the women are in that wonderfully versatile garment, the parayu, it's so perfect for the tropical lifestyle.
This is the 4th games for Cyprus, and here's their flag bearer, Marios Hagirandiou, triple jumper. There's the flag for the Cyprus team.
The white flag has the outline of Cyprus with 2 olive branches, and they're said to denote the island's major industry, olive production.
16 men and 3 women from Cyprus. You notice that to the left, with the teams, you see national costume being worn with each team. Now, World Vision has bought young women, young people from 22 countries, and some of them are marching alongside the flag bearers in national costume as part of a New Zealand-wide tour for World Vision. for such a big team, the English have one of their smallest competitors to carry their flag. Here's Karen Briggs, 4 times world judo champion. She's earned the honour ahead of such big names and gold medal contenders like Sebastian Coe, David Bryant, Linford Christie, Adrian Morehouse, Peter Elliott. The list goes on. Look how small she is. She weighs just 48 kilograms. That's 7.5 stone, and they're carrying the red rose, every one of them.
And the team is marching behind not the Union Jack, but the cross of St George being the patron saint of England.
We may get a look at David Bryant down there in their ranks. Remember, he's the man that won the gold medal way back in the Empire Games in Perth in 1962, and he's won gold medals at 3 other games to make 4 in all. He's trying for gold medals 5 games here.
Form has been designed by a top UK fashion retailer Next. And a small but important detail, the men's ties are decorated with the red rose of England, as well as everyone carrying one. And I love the English national dress of the bowler hat and umbrella. You won't need it here, we hope. Accompanying the team is the music of the Lass of Richmond Hill. I'm sure that's a tune that predates the present television series by a long way.
There at the bottom of the picture we saw Linford Christie, who's expected to be one of the big stars here.
Seb Coe
on the track, and Seb Coe, first time he's ever appeared at the Commonwealth Games, and he's been a strong supporter of the 1990 Games, and how delightful it is to see him marching here this evening.
So England has arrived.
Falkland Islands.
And this is the team that's travelled the furthest to get to the Commonwealth Games in Auckland. 2 competitors, 2 officials. They had to fly on a Royal Air Force jet. Peter Briggs, other competitors. They had to fly all the way from Port Stanley to Ascension Island in mid-Atlantic, on to London, caught a commercial to jet to Perth and Singapore, and then to Auckland. They're here. More in a moment.
Of Guernsey, 15 competitors. And here's the only country from the Commonwealth on the mainland of South America, Guyana. Another one of these Caribbean states, of course, renowned for its cricketers. A small team of 5 competitors. There's their national flag, formed by the choir of 600. Meanwhile, Barry McGee leading the baton through Cornwall Park towards One Tree Hill, making their way up to the top of that famous Auckland landmark, which virtually overlooks Mount Smart Stadium. Barry McGee, one of the great New Zealand athletes, of course, from the Arthur Lydiard stable in the 60s.
Kong.
And amidst all the festivity, a sad note with the appearance of Hong Kong, because this is the second to last appearance they'll be making at the Commonwealth Games. As we all know, Hong Kong becomes part of the People's Republic of China in 1997. But they've sent a very large team. I guess they're going to make the most of their dwindling opportunities at the Commonwealth Games. 82 competitors. It's the biggest team I've seen from Hong Kong at the Commonwealth Games in the last 20 years. A country which traditionally always does strong in bowls and is expecting to pick up a few medals again here in 1990 in that sport. Their flag bearer, 67-year-old Peter Rull Sr., shooter competing at his 5th Commonwealth Games. Real family affair within the Hong Kong team. There are 2 married couples, along with a family comprising a husband, wife, and a son.
India.
Now the most populous country in the Commonwealth, a land of nearly 800 million people, India. Ashok Pandit, a shooter, carrying the flag. Team of 64 competitors. Of course, the Indian cricketers arrived in New Zealand just 3 days ago. They got off to a bright and dashing start, and I'm sure the Indian Commonwealth Games team hoping that they can emulate the feats of their cricketers here on New Zealand soil. We should make mention here of one very special person in the Indian team, a badminton player by the name of and will compete at the badminton competition.
And as you can see, all the men are wearing turbans, but this is a formal attire. It's not a religious head covering as with Sikhs, for instance.
64 competitors, and all but 7 of them men.
Isle of Man.
Next into the stadium, Isle of Man, and for the first time at the Games, their flag is not being carried by a Kelly, which is a break with tradition. This is Graham Steigert, a swimmer with a remarkable record. This is his 4th successive appearance at the Commonwealth Games. Now, traditionally, a Kelly will always carry the flag for Isle of Man so long as there is a Kelly in the team.
And that flag is a most unusual one. It dates from the 10th century and is of Viking origin. You can see it's got 3 armoured legs, and they're referred to in Latin as quo quinque Jacobus starboard, which apparently roughly translates as whichever way you throw me is remain standing.
And And that flag caused a certain amount of amusement and confusion at the village when the Isle of Man team arrived there. No one quite knew which was the correct way to hang it. Out of the Caribbean comes the Jamaican team, a team that bases its strength on speed.
Yes, she is, Merle Naughty. She carried the flag and soul for them as well, and look out for her on the track. She's a top sprinter, and the Jamaican flag there. Here comes the rest of their team. In fact, they base their team on speed, don't they, Brendan?
It's a remarkable team, because in this Jamaican team we've got the world's #1 female sprinter, Merle Naughty, as we saw carrying the flag there, the world indoor 200-metre champion, and Ray Stewart, faster and quicker in 1989 than Carl Lewis.
And again, marching to such an appropriate piece of music. This is My Island in the Sun.
So it's good to have the Jamaicans back. They hosted the games in 1966. Ray Stewart there. They're the only Caribbean nation to have hosted the games.
We remember the great sprinting exploits of Don Quarry when the games were last here in '74. It could well be Ray Stewart's time in '90.
Jersey.
So this is the largest of the Channel Islands. Jersey. David Limacan is the flag bearer. There's their flag, and Limacan will compete in lawn bowls. Also a tax haven, also famous for its Jersey cows.
Well, yes, but it's also got another claim to fame. It's certainly increased its tourism in recent years with the highly successful television series Bergerac. They're playing Island in the Sun for this one too. I wonder if that's as appropriate for Jersey.
The team from Jersey.
Kenya.
Well, I think it's very appropriate in view of recent events that Brendan Telfer comes in here.
And carrying the flag for the 60-strong Kenyan team is Simon Kemboi, one of the favourites for the gold medal in the 400 metres. In fact, the Kenyans believe they can win at least the 6 gold medals on here in the track. They're also expected to win a considerable number of medals in boxing, and the organisers were very relieved when the Kenyans arrived here a week ago, because I guess without them, the boxing and the track and field programs would suffer greatly.
Kenya has arrived at Mount Smart Stadium.
Lesotho. Malta.
Now we greet Malta. The Maltese cross there. Laurie Pace is their flag bearer. She's carrying the flag. 3 competitors, so 1 judo player shooting the cousins, the Attard cousins, Silvio and Joe. Now Dick Quacks is carrying the baton, still closer to the stadium here at Mount Smart Stadium. A silver medalist back in the 1500 metres, still live from Mount Eden, looking into the crater from over the top.
Another team back at the Commonwealth Games after missing Edinburgh, Mauritius, with a most unusual combination, and as much it's an all-woman team, and I certainly can't recall over the last 20 years seeing a Commonwealth Games team comprising of all women competitors.
Nauru.
The only male here is an official. Making their first appearance at the Commonwealth Games, the Pacific Island nation of Nauru, renowned for its enormous reserves of phosphate, and of course, phosphate has made it the wealthiest of all South Pacific Island nations. Just the one competitor, Marcus Stephen, a 20-year-old weightlifter. One competitor and 2 officials, the contingent from Nauru.
Nigeria.
One of the leading countries from Black Africa. Now, interesting to see just what sort of reception the Nigerians get from this crowd in light of their call earlier this week for England to be expelled because of their rebel cricket tour of South Africa. And for a few anxious moments this week, newspaper headlines screamed that this was a city where there was going to be a possible games boycott. But thankfully, the games have gone ahead, and we're delighted to have the Nigerians here, and they got a pretty good reception as well. A 36-strong team, part of their biggest contingent they've sent to the Commonwealth Games. Carrying their flag, Yusuf Ali, their team captain and long jumper. Their best medal hopes lie in boxing and track and field, but sadly many of their best sprinters failed to gain selection for a variety of rather unusual reasons. The Nigeria very smart, and they're nationally populated country in Africa with a population of over 100 million. Now here's a country with a population of just 1,600. Competing only for the 2nd time, the 25-member Norfolk Island team, most of whom are descendants from the bounty mutineers who resettled on Norfolk Island from the Pitcairns. Although Norfolk Island is very close to New Zealand, just 800 kilometres away, I wonder how many people out there know what the capital of Norfolk Island is. Keith Wynn?
You got me worried there, Brendan.
Well, in fact, that's Kingston, and I must confess I didn't know either until our researchers came up with that piece of information. And carrying the flag for the Norfolk Island team is Dan Yaga, a bowler.
Northern Ireland.
The team from the troubled province of Northern Ireland. 36-year-old shooter David Kelvin carrying the flag for Northern Ireland, a squadron leader in the Air Force where he works as a jet pilot.
And as they march on to It's a Great Day for the Irish, they're certainly going to be hoping for that, these games. Very stylish uniform for both the men and women of the team. It's been designed by a top European designer, Paul Costello, who's designed clothes for Princess Diana.
Now, Northern Ireland don't usually win too many gold medals at the Commonwealth Games, but they always seem to take the gold medal in the dress stakes. I remember in 1982 at Brisbane, one of the BBC top fashion designers who was sitting not far away from us said they were streets ahead of any other team in the stadium when it came to smartness with their uniforms. And again, this year, Angela, they'll be one of the best we've seen so far, I think.
Yes, they certainly are. Well, I guess it pays to go to Europe instead of staying home for your designers.
63 competitors expected to do well in boxing, very popular sport in Northern Ireland. And also bowls, of course, we remember here in 1988 when they won the gold medal in the fours. Pakistan, now here's a sight we haven't seen for 20 years at the Commonwealth Games. The sportsmen of Pakistan, led by Saeed Hussain Shah, a 28-year-old boxer from Karachi and bronze medalist at Seoul. It's ironic, I guess, that this team should be made up only of men when it's one of the few countries in the world, of course, ruled by a woman, Benazir Bhutto.
Papua New Guinea.
It's the biggest team ever from Papua New Guinea, and they say they're here to build on their international experience. There's their flag bearer, Joe Chan, the shooting team manager. They want to work on their sports competitiveness and disciplines because they want to be hugely successful at the South Pacific Games in 1991 because they're having them in Port Moresby. Let's give a plug here for Lee Comerford, who's in the Papua New Guinea team. He's New Zealand born. They're competing in 6 sports, and the main hope is Takale Tuna.
Seychelles.
Marching in a sort of ceremonial tracksuit, the Seychelles, north of Madagascar, Paul Nioz, who was a reserve for the African team in the triple jump at the World Cup track and field. And they're represented here by 3 sports, athletics, boxing and judo, a team of 12.
Sierra Leone.
Big cheer for Sierra Leone, and there he is carrying the flag, Felix Sandy. He's a one-man band. They originally picked a team of 21 for the games, but they added up the cost of sending that many to New Zealand, and they just couldn't afford it. So the man carrying the flag, Felix Sandy, accompanied by his liaison officer, is the only one here from Sierra Leone.
Singapore.
Here they are from Singapore. Carrying the flag, David Lim, here a very accomplished Brit top man from the Asian swimming scene, a team of 9 men, no women in the Singapore team.
Solomon Islands.
Well, I suppose we can thank Mr. Russell Marshall, Foreign Affairs Minister, who got Leslie Atta and Joshua Kinisi, the 2 competitors from the Solomon Islands here. Mr. Marshall had talks with the Prime Minister, Solomon Mamaloni, and here they are, the Solomon Islands, arriving in Auckland.
Of Tanzania, 4 athletes and 5 boxers, and the flag being carried by Joseph Mawa, their boxer, but their best medal prospects are clearly in the marathon.
Tonga.
Now listen to the cheer going up for the 7-strong Tongan team. Their flag bearer, Sulole Ikabuka, who will be competing in the discus and the shot put.
And she's from Wellington, Sue Ikabuka, as we watch Ian Ferguson, the Olympic gold medalist from canoeing from 2 Olympic Games, bringing the baton closer to Mount Smarts.
From just off the northern tip of the South American continent comes the team from Trinidad and Tobago. A team of 9 competitors in New Zealand, and the team being managed by the great Hazley Crawford. But this is Maxwell Cheeseman, 28-year-old cyclist who was 8th at Seoul in the 1,000-metre sprint, so he's clearly in with a great chance for a gold medal. And of course many of us here in New Zealand will remember the great Hazley Crawford, won a gold medal at Montreal in 1976, came to New Zealand a few months later to run in the inaugural track series. Wonder if we can pick him up there somewhere.
Uganda.
The Ugandans, who've had a terrible time getting to New Zealand, was a 5-day struggle to get here. They had to sleep in a terminal in Bombay. Then they had 3 days in Singapore sleeping in the airport because they didn't have visas to go into the main part of the country. One of their boxers was left behind in a hospital in Singapore because he contracted malaria, and they flew into New Zealand last night absolutely worn and out and exhausted. But here they are looking pretty fresh as they march in the opening ceremony. Edward Batoga carrying the flag for the Ugandan team.
Vanuatu.
This is the Vanuatu. Carrying the flag is Baptiste Furian, a Southwest Pacific nation, a population 140,000.
And they're wearing traditional island designs on their shirts, and that gold, which is featured as prominently, represents the traditional Vanuatu sunset ceremonies.
Well, the Welsh will be hoping their team, with flag bearer David Morgan, the weightlifter, the double gold medalist, well, I guess they'll be hoping their team will do better than the Welsh rugby team did here in 1988.
Look, bring them on, Keith. That'll bring a lump to your throat.
That's right, men of Harlech. Yeah, they've heard that played a few times over there as well. Now, the Welsh team had financial problems as well. Sponsorship was affected when the World 15 rugby team headed out to South Africa with so many Welshmen, so they decided to cut the numbers down. Sponsors pulled out, but the public got behind, donated the money, and all the Welsh team are here, 120th. What a fine-looking team they are too, the Welsh team. Colin Jackson will be in the ranks there, the leading 110-metre hurdlist. They've competed in all the games.
And the red and white looks so smart and crisp and very striking. You can see them all the way around the stadium.
There's Colin.
Samoa.
Well, this team will be feeling particularly at home in Auckland, which is, of course, after all, the city that has the world's largest Polynesian population. There's the flag bearer, Fulu Falenu, a 27-year-old light heavyweight boxer, gold medalist, and what a fine example of Western Samoan manhood he is as the officials follow with the team.
The team wearing leis, and they've got European-style blazers, but both men and women are wearing grey lava-lavas.
So they're a popular team from Western Samoa. Zambia, and carrying the flag is Mugamba Kaiti, a 25-year-old badminton player. The Zambian flag, but they've got a fellow in this team, Jim Smith, a 35-year-old swimmer who trains in a river infested by crocodiles. I guess his times
that'd make you go.
His times would have come down. Prince Edward looking now, the 25 team members strong in boxing and bowls. Zimbabwe, flag bearer Melford Homala, the 800-metre runner.
And I can tell you from the mouth of a Harare cab driver when I was in Zimbabwe last month, where I was stranded for a few days, that Zimbabwe, that lovely sounding name, in fact means house of stone.
So Zimbabwe goes in, leaving just one more team to come in to Mount Smart Stadium, Auckland's Commonwealth Games 1990.
New Zealand.
Here, Kiwis, this is our team. Anthony Moss, he's all shaved down, ready to go for that butterfly race, the first of which is just 48 hours away. Doesn't he look fit and sharp? The banners and flags are waving in the stands. Here they come. We're going to try something new. We're going to try and see if we can talk to some of the athletes in the big parade. Anne Ordain, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Brendan.
And it's certainly a great sight. Keith Quinn speaking. What's it like down there? This is your home track.
Oh, this is just so wonderful. This is a realization of dreams come true.
We can see you, Anne. You look pretty good. What's that on your head?
Oh, well, I don't know, but this is just so wonderful. And I think this is what all those years of training in the dark and the cold and the rain and the snow, this is what it's all about. To see all you people up there egging us on. It's just wonderful.
There's Bev Peter. Peterson, just not far from you. Her mother competed in Auckland. Oh no, I think a tear in the eye of the Governor General. Anna Dane, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
You want to know what was on her head, do you, Keith? That's a very distinctive part of the uniform. It's sort of like a beret-like hat. But we didn't have to go to Europe to buy our design. Ours was designed right here at home by a former Benson & Hedges Award winner, Robert Gormick. It's 100% wool for comfort and to stay looking good, because wool doesn't crease, you know.
Well, there are 224 competitors in the New Zealand team, 2,500 competitors here at the Games, but I'm sure one of the proudest men tonight is this man, John Walker. John, Brendan Telfer here. Can you hear me?
This is unbelievable down here. The noise, you just can't even hear yourself talk. I'm feeling totally overwhelmed. I think that I've never seen with 35,000 people in it. They're all cheering for New Zealand.
Well, John, I guess there's been a lot of people telling you in the last couple of years it's time to retire, but I guess just at the moment, I'm pretty sure you're glad you didn't listen to them.
I wouldn't have missed this moment for the world. And I'm sure this is going to inspire all the New Zealand competitors. And if this is worth 1 second or 1 second in the pool or a gold medal to anybody, this crowd will certainly lift the New Zealand team.
Tell me, John, how does it compare if you can recall what it was like 16 years ago in Christchurch? Any different?
I think this is better because this is spontaneous. There's no boycotts. This has all come together. 4 years of planning, and I think everybody has to be congratulated.
Does that for a while either?
Cheers.
The Kiwis are here. What a great reception they got from the big crowd. They look great, don't they, Angela?
And they are looking smart. Both the men and the women are in black double-breasted blazers. The men in cream pleated trousers. They should be baggy, you see, and comfortable. And the women are in mid-calf length cream culottes, also with box pleats to make them comfortable and roomy.
Well, these are the young men and women who'll become, we hope, familiar faces to you over the next 11 days of competition.
And it's a very experienced team that New Zealand has sent to the Commonwealth Games. In fact, 57 of them have competed at earlier games. And within this team, there are no less than 21 Games medalists. So we could be seeing one of the best medal hauls ever from a New Zealand team at the Commonwealth Games.
The Kiwis have arrived. All the teams from all the countries are here at the Commonwealth Games. The batons, the Queen's baton relay gets closer still to the stadium, and Tracy Edwards, the skipper of Maiden in the Whitbread Round the World Yacht Race, and what a great tribute to women sportsmen that is to have her competing.
And here at the stadium, a great roar growing up from the crowd and a Mexican wave working its way around, which I might add was started by the competitors. But we are now getting ready for the ceremonial part of the proceedings, and Tainui Stephens is back with me.
Kia ora, Angela. Tēnā nō rā koutou katoa mā takitaki mai nā. And we have this Mexican wave going around. I wonder if Mexico's in the Commonwealth. I don't think it is.
Again, the sound of the conch shell.
The conch shell signalling the beginning once again, and the return to kaupapa Māori. Earlier on, we had the challenge and the defiance of the challenge, signalling the arrival of the visitors. Now we issue the formal welcome to the athletes, visitors, and all concerned to this Mount Smart Stadium here at the beginning of the 14th Commonwealth Games. Kai kei te wiwi, a haka from North New Zealand, written centuries ago to